everyone, I'm Laura. I'm going to show you how to crochet this duck. So if you've never crocheted before, take a look at my videos about how to do single crochet and how to crochet in the round. If you like the written version of this pattern, it's on my website and I'll leave the link in the description. So you're going to need double knit yarn in bright yellow and orange, and you're going to need some stuffing, and you'll need a 3mm crochet hook, some scissors, a stitch marker, a yarn needle, and you'll need some 6mm black safety eyes. So they come in packs like this. You can buy them online, and this is what they look like. They look a bit like screws. And you'll also need the plastic backs that come with them. So I'll show you how to use those later on. So they just come in a bag like that with the pack. So to help with sewing, you'll need some pins just to help with sewing the head on and the wings on. So we're going to start with the head in bright yellow, and we're going to make a magic ring. And we're going to do 6 single crochet in the magic ring. So just take that short tail out and put it by the side there. And then we do the 6 single crochet underneath both of those strands. So count the V's to count your stitches, and then pull on that short tail to gather all the stitches together and close the ring. And then put the stitch marker in that last stitch. So round 2, we're going to do an increase in every stitch. So an increase is 2 single crochet in 1 stitch, and we'll have 12 single crochet at the end of this round. I'm going to show you how to do the first 3 rounds in full, and then for the following increasing rounds I'll show you the start of each round, and then you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done them. So take the marker out and do the last increase. So you can count and make sure you've got 12. And then put the marker back in the last stitch you did. Round 3, we're going to single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to do an increase in the next stitch. And we're going to do that 6 times. So we repeat the instructions in brackets the number of times stated, and we'll have 18 stitches at the end of the round. So we're increasing in multiples of 6. So I'll just show you this round in full, just so that you know how to do it. So last set, and take the marker out and do the last increase. And you can count, make sure you've got 18. So you don't always have to count after every round. Sometimes it's just nice to reassure yourself that you've got the right number of stitches. Round 4, we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to do an increase in the next stitch, and we'll do that 6 times, and we'll have 24 stitches at the end of this round. So I'm just going to show you the first set, and then you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done that. Okay, so I've done those rounds now, and this is how you count your rounds. So there's the first round. So rounds 5 to 10, that's 6 rounds. We're going to single crochet in every stitch. So we're just maintaining 24 stitches. So I'm just going to show you the first round sped up, just so that you know what it looks like. And then you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done all 6 rounds. So take out the marker and do the last stitch. Okay, so I've done all of those rounds now. So you can count your increasing rounds, and you can see the last increase, and then you can count the rounds after that and make sure you've got 6. So now we're going to insert the safety eyes between round 6 and 7. So we count round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this line in between 6 and 7, so this space, so we just push it in and twist it because it's a bit like a screw. So grab it from the other side and just push it all the way in. And then we're going to count 6 stitches because we want them to be 6 stitches apart. So I'm just checking that it's in the right place. So you can see on the other one I made that they're 6 stitches apart. So 6 visible stitches. So count 6 stitches and then push the other eye in that space. So they're both on the same level. So then push it inside out so you've got access to the back, and take the plastic back, and the small end is what goes onto the end of the eye. So we're going to push it down and you'll hear it click, and it will click down about 3 times, and that's as far as it will go. So the same with the other one. So just hold on to both sides with your fingers and push it down. You do have to use quite a bit of force, but they won't come out now, so that's why they're safety eyes. So mine didn't fully click down the third one, so I'm just doing that. So put the marker back in the last stitch you did, and now we're going to start decreasing. Round 11, we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease, and we're going to do that 6 times so that we have 18 stitches at the end of the round. So I'll show you how to do an invisible decrease. So this is the front loop because it's closest to us, and this is the back loop because it's furthest away. So we're going to work in the front loop only. So we pick up the front loop of the next stitch, and then we pick up the front loop of the stitch next to that. Now we've got 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. So it can help to pull through the first one and then the second one, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops on the hook. So that's an invisible decrease, and you can see those back loops left over, and then we've got this diagonal piece. So we want to go into the V, so not that diagonal piece, for our next stitch. So then we repeat that, single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then invisible decrease. So I'll just show you that again. Yarn over, and then when you get the hang of it, you can pull through both of those loops in one smooth motion, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. So they're not completely invisible, there is a bit of a difference and you can see them, and that helps when you need to count how many stitches you got in between them. So I'm just going to speed up the rest of this round just to show you, but you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done this round. So take the marker out when you've got 2 stitches remaining and do the last invisible decrease. And just push that tail from the magic ring inside and put the marker back in. Round 12, we're going to single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease, and we'll do that 6 times so that we have 12 stitches at the end of this round. And this is the last round of the head. So you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done that. Okay, so I've done that round now. I've got 12 stitches, and we're going to fasten off, leaving a tail for sewing. So about this long. So this is how we fasten off. And now we're going to stuff the head. So just break off pieces, small pieces, and push it in with your fingers and stuff it quite firmly. So now we're going to make the top part of the beak in orange. So we're going to make a slip knot. And we're going to be working in rows. So put the hook in the slip knot and chain 5. And starting in the second stitch from the hook, so this one here, single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So just in the side of each chain. Row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn. So the chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch because it's just our turning chain. And we're going to single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. So we're looking at the back of the stitches of the previous row. So the last stitch can be a bit more fiddly to get into. So it can help to just pick up the front loop first and then the second loop. Now we're going to single crochet around 3 edges in the spaces between the ends of the rows until we get back to the top. So this is the next space, it's in the bottom of where we've just gone into. And then we're going to single crochet in these remaining chain loops along this edge. So just pick up each one. And last one, and then along the next edge in between the spaces between the rows. I'm just counting. So next one goes in here, and then another one, and then now we've got back to where that chain 1 is. So just count and make sure you've got 12. So this is how it's going to go on. Now we're going to fasten off, leaving a tail for sewing. So about this long. And we're going to weave the short tail into the back of the stitches. So turn it over, and now we're looking at the back. And just weave down that side edge in the back of those stitches that we've just done. So about to the middle, and then go back in the opposite direction, just picking up loops from the back of the stitches. And cut the yarn close to the edge of the work. And with the right side of the work facing us, we're going to pinch the middle part inwards. So it's about 2 stitches in the middle, and just pinch it so that we get that shape. Now we're going to make the bottom part of the beak. So make a slip knot and chain 4. So I've sped this up just to show you, but you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done each row. And then single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Row 2, chain 1 and turn, and single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Now single crochet around 3 edges in the spaces between the ends of the rows, and you'll have 10 stitches when you're finished. So first one goes in the bottom of the one we've just done, and then pick up the remaining loops from that chain. And then along the other side. And fasten off, leaving a tail for sewing. So just count, make sure you've got 10. So now we're going to sew these pieces to the head in between the eyes, and the top part is going to be sewn on round 7. So thread the tail onto your needle. So we're going to be picking up those yellow loops from the surface of the stitches along round 7. So first of all, just go into that stitch next to it, just to round it off. And then line it up and pick up a stitch just couple of stitches in from the eye, and then go underneath the V's on the orange part. So to fasten off, find a loop on the underside and go through it but not all the way. Leave a loop and then go through the loop from behind and pull tight to make a knot. So that's how we fasten off when we sew pieces on. And then weave through the head, come out at the opening of the neck. And then you can just pinch that top part again just to keep that shape that we want. And now we're going to sew the bottom part of the beak on the round below it. So just make sure that the right side of the stitches is on the outside. So on the underneath part. And just pick up loops close to where you did the other one. And fasten off in the same way. And weave the tail through the head, coming out of the neck. And then trim those orange tails and just push that bit inside. So now we're going to make the flat base of the body. So what I've done here is rounds 1 to 4, and it's exactly the same as rounds 1 to 4 of the head. So it goes 6, 12, 18, 24. So I've left the instructions on the screen, and you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done that. Okay, so round 5, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to increase in the next stitch, and we're going to do that 6 times so that we have 30 stitches at the end of this round. So I'll just show you the first set, and then you can pause the video and meet you back when you've done that round. Okay, so I've done that round. Now we're going to single crochet in the next 9 stitches. So I've just sped this up, but you can pause the video. So just count, make sure you've got 9. And we're going to work in rows now. So we're going to chain 1 and turn. And again, the chain 1 is a turning stitch, so it doesn't count as a stitch. And then we're going to do a single crochet 2 together. So push the hook in the first stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then push the hook in the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. Got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. So that's a single crochet 2 together, and that decreases by 1. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches. Now we've got 2 stitches remaining, so take out the marker, and we're going to do another single crochet 2 together, so that we'll have 8 stitches at the end of this row. So we won't need the stitch marker for a while because we're going to be working in rows. So just stretch it out. Don't worry too much if it's curling because that will be okay later on. So just count, make sure you've got 8. Row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to do a single crochet 2 together. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And then we're going to do another single crochet 2 together, so that we'll have 6 stitches at the end of this row. Row 3, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to do a single crochet 2 together. Then we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to do another single crochet 2 together. So we have 4 stitches at the end of this row. Row 4, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Then we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. Then we're going to do a single crochet 2 together. And then we're going to single crochet in the last stitch, so that we'll have 3 stitches at the end of this row. Row 5, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to do a single crochet 2 together. And then we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. And we'll have 2 stitches at the end of this row. Row 6, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So this is the last row, and we're going to put the marker in the last stitch that we did, because we're now going to start working in rounds again. So we're going to be working in the spaces between the ends of the rows down this side. So we're going to start in that same space where the last stitch was, and we're going to single crochet in 7 spaces down this side. So there's the first one. And instead of what we did for the beak, this time we're going to pick up the single loops on the edge, because we don't want to go through and create holes. So just pick up the single strands. So it can be a bit fiddly to get into them sometimes. So the last one is here. Just go through that single strand. And now count and make sure you've got 7, because the stitch count on this round is going to be important. Now we're going to single crochet in the next 21 stitches. So we're back to the full proper stitches now, so under both loops. So I'm just going to speed this bit up, but you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done that. Okay, so I'm just doing the last single crochet there. Now we're going to single crochet in the next 7 spaces between the ends of the rows up this side. So again, we're picking up single loops from the edge. So it can be quite tight and fiddly. So count and make sure you've got 7 down that side as well. And now we're going to single crochet in the last 2 stitches. So we just ignore that chain 1. And then take out the marker and single crochet in the last stitch. And now count and make sure you've got 37 stitches because it's important that you've got the right number. Put the marker in the last stitch you did, and we're going to continue working in rounds. So you can see that that is the flat base part done. So now we're going to start the rounds again. So round 1, we're going to be working in the back loops only for every stitch of this round. So again, this is the front loop because it's closest to you, and this is the back loop. So these are the ones we're going to be working in. So we're going to single crochet the next 13 stitches. So just picking up the back loops of each stitch like this. I'm just going to speed up this bit, and you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done 13. So count and make sure you've got 13, and then we're going to increase in the next stitch. So back loop only for every stitch of this round. Then we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then we're going to increase in the next stitch, and we're going to do that twice. So second set. Now we're going to single crochet in the next 12 stitches. So again, you can pause the video. I'm just going to speed this bit up. And then take out the marker and increase in the last stitch. So we'll have 41 stitches at the end of this round. So just place it on the table and try and flatten it out and stretch it out a bit. And then put the marker in the last stitch you did. So round 2, we're going to be working in both loops again from now on. So we're going to single crochet in the next 14 stitches. So again, I'm going to speed this bit up, and you can pause the video. So count, make sure you got 14, and then increase in the next stitch. So you can see the increase from the previous round. So it's on top of that. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches, and then we're going to increase in the next stitch, and we're going to do that twice. So second set. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 13 stitches. And then take the marker out and do an increase in the last stitch. And we'll have 45 stitches at the end of this round. So again, you can just place it on the table and flatten it out. Put the marker back in the last stitch you did. And for round 3, we're going to single crochet in every stitch, just maintaining 45 stitches. So you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done that. Okay, so I've done that round. So put the marker back in. Now we're going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So just count, make sure you got 5. And then we're going to chain 9. So just count, make sure you've got 9 chains. And then starting with the stitch before the stitch marker on the other side, count 6 stitches and then single crochet in that 6th stitch. So making sure that the right side of the stitch is on the outside like this. So that just joins it to the other side. And now we've got both sides of those chains that we're going to use later on. So single crochet in the next 6 stitches on this side. So take out the marker and do the 6th stitch, and then we'll have 21 stitches because the chains count as stitches in this round. So we're doing the tail part, the tail bit that curves upwards. So put the marker back in the last stitch you did. So round 1 of the tail end, single crochet in the next 5 stitches, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease. And we're going to do that 3 times. So we're going to treat the chains as normal stitches, and we're going to do the invisible decreases using the back loops only of each chain. So here's the first 5 single crochet. Just count, make sure you've got 5. And then we're going to turn the chain so the right side is facing us like this. And we're not going to be using these front loops because we're going to be using those later on for the main part. We're going to be using these top loops here, or the back loops. So now we're going to do an invisible decrease. So pick up the back loop of the next chain. And then pick up the back loop of the chain next to that. Now this is going to be more fiddly than a normal invisible decrease, but it's pretty much the same apart from that. Okay, so now you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. So helps to go through the first one and then the second one, and yarn over and pull through those 2 loops on the hook. So that's the first set done. Then we're going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches, so the chains. So just put your finger underneath the chain like that to make it easier. Okay, so that's 5. So you can see your invisible decrease, or you can count from the start if that helps. So there's the invisible decrease, and then 5, and now another invisible decrease. So again, it's on the last 2 chain loops. And now we're back to working in the normal stitches. So here's the first stitch, and do the last set, single crochet in the next 5 stitches, and then invisible decrease. And we should have 18 stitches at the end of this round. So take the marker out when you've got 2 stitches remaining and do the last invisible decrease. So again, this one is back to using the front loops only because they're normal stitches instead of chains. So marker goes back in. Round 2, we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease. So we want to go into the next proper stitch, not the side of that invisible decrease. And we'll do that 3 times, and we'll have 15 stitches at the end of this round. So we're decreasing in 3s because we want this to be like a cone shape, and that's how we get a cone shape with the decreasing. So we've got 4 there, and then again they're normal stitches, so we use the front loops only for the invisible decrease. So I'll just speed up the last 2 sets just to show you, but you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done this round. So take the marker out when you've got 2 stitches remaining and do the last invisible decrease. And marker goes back in. Round 3, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease, and we'll do that 3 times, and we'll have 12 stitches at the end of the round. So again, I'll just show you the first set, and then I'll speed the rest of it up. So as it gets smaller, it helps to just put your finger in that opening so that it doesn't collapse on you. Then there will come a point where the hole's too small and you can't put your finger in anymore. Right, so marker goes back in. Round 4, we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease, and we'll do that 3 times so that we have 9 stitches at the end of the round. So just show you the first set, and then I'll speed up the rest again. Round 5, we're going to single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease, and we'll do that 3 times so that we have 6 stitches at the end of the round. So this is actually the last round. So I'll show you all of this round in normal speed because it's a bit more fiddly than the previous rounds. So take out the marker when you've got 2 stitches left, do the last invisible decrease. And just count, you should have 6. And then we're going to fasten off, leaving a tail about this long. And then we're going to close that hole. So thread the tail onto your needle. And then we're going to come up through the front loop only of each of those 6 stitches from the outside. So there's the first one, and then the second one from the outside each time. So all 6 of them. And then pull tight to gather those stitches and close the hole. And then find a loop nearby and go through it, but not all the way. Leave a loop, go through the loop from behind and pull tight to make a knot. And that fastens off. And then go through the middle of that hole and weave it into the inside part. And then just trim some of that so it's not quite so long. So now we've finished the tail end. And now we've got 33 stitches remaining on the middle part of the body, and we've got 9 chain loops. So we've got 42 stitches in total. So we're going to start decreasing on the main part now. So holding it with the tail on the right hand side, push the hook through that corner single crochet there, and pull up a loop. Chain 1, so this doesn't count as a stitch, it's just to secure it. Single crochet in that same stitch. And then single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And then do an invisible decrease. So that's 5 in total. So this is the first set. And then single crochet in the next 5 stitches and then do an invisible decrease 5 times. So that in total you'll have 6 sets and you'll have 36 stitches at the end of this round. So it was just that first set that was a bit different because we had to pull up a loop, chain 1. So we're going to come to a point where we're going to be using those 9 chains and we're going to be doing the invisible decrease on that as well. So you can pause the video and meet me back when you get to the point where you're about to start the chain section. Okay, so just finished doing 5 single crochet here. And then the next stitch will be an invisible decrease. So count from the other end to identify where those 9 chains are. Can be hard to see, and this is probably the hardest part of the whole thing. So here is the first chain. So we do the invisible decrease, same as before, pick up both loops, and then single crochet in the next 5 loops. So here's the next one. And then we've got 2 loops remaining, so we're going to do the last invisible decrease. And we should have 36 stitches at the end of this round. So I'm just counting to make sure I've got 36. And then put the marker back in that last stitch you did. And then the next stitch of the new round will go in that first single crochet. So we're just going to ignore that chain 1. So we're going to start stuffing the tail end now. So round 2, we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease, and we'll do that 6 times so that we have 30 stitches at the end of the round. So you'll notice that we've got that little hole there, but don't worry about that because that's just what happens when you use this technique. So this round, all the stitches are full single crochet stitches, so we've got no more fiddly bits to do. I'm just speeding this up to show you, but you can pause the video. So last invisible decrease. So just stretch it out and reshape it. And now we're going to continue stuffing as we go. So stuffing the main part now. Round 3, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease, and we'll do that 6 times so that we have 24 stitches at the end of the round. So I'm just going to show you the first set, and then you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done this round. Okay, so I've done that round, and I'm going to continue stuffing it as I go. And put the marker back in. Round 4, we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease, and we're going to do that 6 times so that we have 18 stitches at the end of the round. So again, I'm just going to show you the first set, and then you can pause the video and meet me back. So keep stuffing it as you decrease. Round 5, we're going to single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease. We'll do that 6 times and we'll have 12 stitches at the end of the round. So I'm just going to show you the first set, and then you can pause the video and meet me back. So just try and squash it flat, because we want the top to be fairly flat and squashed down rather than going up in height too much. So keep stuffing. Make sure you've got enough in it, because we're not going to be able to fit much in after this round. So round 6, we're going to do an invisible decrease 6 times, so that we have 6 stitches at the end of this round, and this is the last round. So this is a bit more fiddly, so just keep your finger in that hole to make it easier. So then we're going to fasten off, leaving a long tail. And we're going to close the hole in exactly the same way that we did on the tail end. So thread the tail onto your needle and come up through the front loops from the outside of each of those 6 stitches. And pull tight to close the hole. Find a loop nearby and fasten off in the same way that we did before. And then go through the middle and weave it through the body and pull tight just to make it nice and flat. And cut the yarn close to the edge of the work and use the end of your needle to push it in and hide it. So that's the body finished. Now we're going to sew the head on. So we're going to get our pins to help us. So thread the tail onto your needle, and to start off with, just go through that next stitch and come out the outside like that. So that just rounds it off, so there's not a step. And then pin it in place, so we want it about here. So this is how I pinned mine. I just did 4 all the way around. I'm just counting the number of rounds to the top. So when you're happy with the position, then you can start sewing. So pick up loops from the surface of the stitches on the body, and then go underneath the V of the stitches of the last round of the head. And we're going to be taking the pins out as we go, so when they're not needed anymore. So I'm just comparing it to the other one because I want it to be exactly the same. So when you get to the end, we're going to find a loop nearby and fasten off in the same way that we did before. And pull tight and then weave that in through the body, come out of the side, cut the yarn close to the edge of the work, and then use the needle to hide that end. So now we're going to make the wings. So make a slip knot, and both wings are made exactly the same. Chain 5, and starting in the second stitch from the hook, single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So I've obviously just sped this up to show you, but you can pause the video anytime you need to. Rows 2 to 5, that's 4 rows. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to single crochet in every stitch, so 4 stitches on each row. So I'll just show you this row and then you can pause the video and meet me back when you've done all 4. Okay, so I've done those rows now, so we have 5 in total. Row 6, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to do a single crochet 2 together twice, so that we just have 2 stitches at the end of this row. Row 7, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to do a single crochet 2 together, and we'll just have 1 stitch at the end of this row. So now it's the same as before. We're going to single crochet down the edge in the spaces between the ends of the rows. So with this one, I didn't pick up the edges like I did on the body. I just went in the spaces instead of, so behind a thicker section of the edge. So it doesn't matter too much how many you've got. I didn't actually count. We just want it to be straight. And then single crochet in the chain loops on this bottom edge. And then single crochet in the spaces down the other edge. And then slip stitch in the first stitch from the last row. So push the hook in, yarn over and pull through, and then pull that loop through the first loop on the hook, and that's a slip stitch, and it just rounds it off. So cut the yarn, leaving a long tail for sewing, and fasten off. And then weave that short tail from the slip knot into the back of the stitches. So just go down the side edge to about the middle, and then go across the middle for a few stitches. And cut the yarn close to the edge of the work. And then make the second wing in exactly the same way. And then now we're going to sew them on. So thread the tail onto your needle. So the pointy end where we've just finished goes at the back like this, and pin them on at a slight angle. And we're just going to sew the top edge on. So pick up loops and go through the V's again, same as we did before. So we're just going to sew this top edge and then slightly along the curve at the front, and then we're going to leave the rest of it free so that the wings can lift up. So then lift up the wing and find a loop nearby on the underside and fasten off. And then weave that tail through the body. And come out on the underside and cut the yarn. And then hide the end, and then sew the other wing on in the same way, so just that top edge, so it helps to pin them on. So just this edge here. So there we have it, the crochet rubber duck is finished. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I'd love to see a photo of your rubber duck. You can share it with me by tagging me on Instagram at Laura_Wilson01. I also have an Etsy shop where I design and sell crochet patterns, so if you're interested in that, I'll leave the link in the description. If you like this video, make sure you give me a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.